your boy Big Steve G, the voice of TheTitleFight.com, and welcome to another podcast. This past weekend was a pretty busy one for boxing, and we're going to start with recapping the Friday Night Fights main event, which was a crossroads fight between former 140-pound title holder Kendall Holt and top contender Tim Coleman. Both men were coming off of losses, and both needed a win. Holt came into the fight with four-division champion and former pound-for-pound king Roy Jones Jr. in his corner. Coleman had split from his trainer Eddie Mustafa Muhammad prior to this fight and basically trained himself. He even admitted that he would drink beers during training, and he definitely showed he was undertrained in the ring. Holt dominated this very short fight and dropped Coleman 4 times in 2 rounds before Coleman's corner stopped the fight. It's a shameful performance for Coleman, who was underprepared and uninterested in the fight. He was only in there to get a payday and didn't care what the result was, and he should be ashamed of himself. A good performance by Rated R Holt, and he's looking to get back into title contention at 140 pounds. Now, let's turn our attention to the HBO doubleheader from the theater at Madison Square Garden, and the co-feature showcased top super middleweight contender Edwin Rodriguez taking on Donovan George. This was a pretty decent fight in which both fighters provided action. However, Rodriguez's jab and overall skills were too much for George, and Rodriguez was able to dominate and earn a 10-round unanimous decision. Rodriguez is looking to make some noise in the 168-pound division, and I see him matching up well against either Mikkel Kessler or Carl Froch. In the main event, universally recognized middleweight champion Sergio Martinez took on tough Irish Matthew Macklin. This fight was on St. Patrick's Day in New York City, and the Garden crowd was pumped to see their fellow Irishman Macklin take on Martinez. The first half of the fight was back and forth, and Martinez had trouble early on. In the 7th, Macklin landed a right hand while they were in close quarters, which caused Martinez's glove to touch the canvas. Therefore, it was ruled a knockdown. Martinez knew he was in trouble, and the knockdown appeared to be a wake-up call as he turned up the action from the 8th round on. Martinez began landing fast left hands and began to break Macklin down. In the 11th, Martinez was able to finally seal the deal by dropping Macklin twice, including a hard left-hand shot that put Macklin down at the end of the round. At that point, Macklin's trainer, Buddy McGirt, stopped the fight before the 12th. Another great performance from Martinez and a very game effort for Macklin. Martinez wants a fight with Floyd Mayweather should Floyd beat Miguel Cotto. Hey, a Mayweather-Martinez fight is the next best thing other than Pacquiao versus Mayweather. Only time will tell whether this fight will happen. Okay, with the Gamboa-Rios fight now being scrapped, Brandon Rios will co-headline a split-side pay-per-view event when he faces Richard Abril in Las Vegas, and the pay-per-view will feature Juan Manuel Marquez taking on Sergey Fenchenko in his hometown of Mexico City. You know, it's a bummer that Rios won't be fighting Gamboa. However, this should be a pretty decent pay-per-view card. After Juan Manuel Lopez's shameful post-fight remarks after his loss to Orlando Salido, the Puerto Rican Boxing Commission has suspended Lopez after he made remarks about the referee stopping the fight because he bet on the fight. The commission did release a statement asking Lopez to explain why he shouldn't be disciplined. I love what the commission has done in this case, as Lopez was clearly out of line with his remarks, and an example needs to be made of him. Okay, in this week's Classic Review, we're going to look back at the 1997 Junior Welterweight Championship match between then undefeated champion Kostya Tszyu taking on former welterweight title challenger Cool Vince Phillips. Tszyu was making the 6th defense of his IBF Junior Welterweight title, and he was making a lot of noise at 140 pounds with his crowd-pleasing style and punching power. He was looking to land a unification fight with fellow 140-pound champion Oscar De La Hoya. Cool Vince Phillips had been campaigning as a welterweight and was a crowd-pleasing fighter with a major league right hand. He had challenged welterweight champion Ike Quartey in April of 1996 and was stopped in 3 rounds after he hit Quartey with everything but the kitchen sink. Then lost a close decision to 1988 Olympic gold medalist Ramos Ellis in January of 1997. After these pair of losses, Phillips chose to move down to junior welterweight to challenge Tszyu. They met on May 31st, 1997 at the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. Tszyu dominated the first 4 rounds with hard right hands. However, Phillips was able to weather the action and began to land his own hard right hand. In the 7th, Phillips was able to score a knockdown of Tszyu. However, Kostya was able to quickly get up and seemed unfazed. In the ninth round, Tszyu landed a hard right hand that opened up a huge cut over Phillips' left eye, and referee Benji Estevez called the ringside doctor over to examine the cut, in which he allowed the fight to continue. Later in the ninth, Phillips landed a huge right hand that rocked Tszyu, and Vince was able to land 2 more right hands, which had Tszyu completely finished, causing Benji Estevez to stop the fight. So new champion was crowned in Vince Phillips. Tszyu would regain a junior welterweight title the next year and unify the 140-pound division, in which he would not lose a fight until 2005. Phillips would make 3 successful defenses of his title before losing to Tehran Millette in 1999. Well, that about does it for this session, Fight Freaks. This is your boy Big Steve G. Until next time.